All right, get ready for some serious greenery, because today we are diving deep into the Singapore Botanic Gardens. You sent over some amazing information about this place, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and I have to say, I'm pretty excited to dig in.
It's a pretty incredible place.
It's not just any garden, right? We're talking over 3,000 orchid varieties, a rainforest smack dab in the middle of the city, and get this, it's open until midnight.
Midnight strolls through a botanical garden. That's definitely not your average garden experience.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's more than just a beautiful place to visit, though. The Singapore Botanic Gardens truly reflect the island's history.
Oh, really? Tell me more about that.
Well, it's a fascinating blend of science and culture, and it even played a role in the rubber boom that shaped Southeast Asia's economy.
Okay, hold on. Rubber boom. Now I'm really intrigued. But first things first, let's set the scene for our listeners. We've got this incredible garden, free to enter, except for the orchid garden, we'll get to that, open from 5 a.m. to midnight, and easily accessible by MRT.
Mm,
Just imagine, you could have a morning walk through a rainforest and then catch an outdoor concert under the stars all in one place.
you got it. And that accessibility is a big part of what makes it so special. It makes experiencing nature a part of daily life, not just a special occasion.
That's a great point. Okay, you mentioned the orchid garden. We can't gloss over that. With over 3,000 varieties, that's mind-blowing. What makes this collection so unique?
It's the result of decades of research and a world-leading orchid hybridization program. Singapore's work here has actually influenced horticulture globally.
Wow, globally, that's impressive.
And they have this amazing cool house that mimics a highland forest environment.
Okay, wait a minute. A cool house. What is that exactly?
It's this climate-controlled space designed to house rare orchids, carnivorous plants, and other unusual flora that thrive in cooler temperatures. It's a really unique experience.
A cool house. I love it. That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but instead of aliens, we get amazing plants. It must take a lot of work to keep that environment going.
It does. It's a testament to the incredible effort scientists and botanists go to preserve and showcase diverse plant life.
Absolutely. Speaking of history, I know there's also a historical element to the orchid garden.
Oh, absolutely. Burkill Hall, a colonial-era building within the VIP Orchid Garden, has these fascinating exhibits that delve into the history of orchids in Singapore.
Right, and the VIP Orchid Garden itself, that's where they have orchids named after famous figures,
Yeah.
like Nelson Mandela and Princess Diana. It's such a unique way to honor someone.
Mm.
Okay, so let's say I'm adding this orchid wonderland to my itinerary. What should I expect cost-wise?
Well, the Orchid Garden does have an admission fee, $15 for adults, with discounts for students and seniors.
Not bad at all, considering the sheer scale of the collection. So if I really want to soak it all in, how much time should I set aside for the orchid garden?
I'd recommend at least 1 to 2 hours to wander through the different sections, appreciate the displays, and maybe grab a few photos.
You mentioned earlier that the gardens have played a part in shaping Singapore's reputation as a garden city. Fill me in on that. How did it become such a symbol for the country?
The gardens have been shaping the landscape and inspiring greening efforts since 1859 when they were founded. They even played a crucial role in the region's rubber boom by cultivating rubber trees during the colonial period.
Wow, so they really had a hand in Singapore's economic development too.
Absolutely, and it all helped to establish Singapore's reputation as a center for botanical expertise.
So it's not just about pretty flowers. It's about history, economics, and really putting Singapore on the map. All right, so we've been exploring for a while now, and I'm thinking it's time for a break. We're bound to need some refueling after all this garden talk. With so much to see, where are the best places to have a picnic in the Singapore Botanic Gardens?
You're in luck, because the Singapore Botanic Gardens are practically a picnic paradise. There are so many beautiful spots to choose from.
Okay, let's hear it. I'm picturing myself with a delicious spread surrounded by lush greenery. What are my options?
Well, if you're looking for a romantic setting, Swan Lake is perfect. Picture having a picnic with the iconic Flight of Swans sculpture as your backdrop. It's pure magic.
That sounds absolutely idyllic. What if I'm with a larger group or have kids who need some space to run around?
Then Symphony Lake is your go-to. It's spacious, and there's often a free outdoor concert happening, so you can enjoy some live music while you picnic.
I love that. Okay, now I'm picturing a whole different scene, maybe a bit more peaceful. Are there any quieter spots, hidden gems where I can escape the crowds and enjoy a more secluded picnic?
Absolutely. For a secluded experience, head to Eco Lake. It's quieter and less crowded, and you might even spot some local wildlife while you're there.
A little wildlife encounter during my picnic. I'm sold.
There's also the learning forest if you want something more immersive. It's like having a picnic inside a beautiful living classroom.
A living classroom. I love that description. Okay, now I'm thinking about those classic open field picnics. What would you suggest for that?
Palm Valley is a classic for a reason. It's a wide open field surrounded by majestic palm trees. It's perfect for larger groups or just spreading out and enjoying the sunshine.
I can practically feel the breeze rustling through those palm trees.
And if you prefer something a little more fragrant and colorful, the Frangipani Lawn is another excellent choice. It's conveniently located near other attractions, so it's perfect for a quick bite before continuing your exploration.
So many options. What about if I'm just looking for a quick, casual bite? Are there any charming spots for that?
Absolutely. The Ginger Garden is perfect for a quick bite. It's smaller and more compact than the other picnic areas, but still offers a beautiful setting with shaded benches nearby.
Okay, so many possibilities for a picnic in the gardens.
Yeah.
It's making me hungry just thinking about it.
Mm.
Any pro tips I should keep in mind before I go packing my picnic basket?
Timing is key. Mornings or late afternoons are ideal for beating the Singapore heat, and be sure to pack all the essentials. A picnic mat, sunscreen, insect repellent, and plenty of water.
All noted.
And most importantly, remember to be a responsible picnicker. Clean up after yourself and dispose of trash properly to preserve this beautiful environment.
Absolutely. Leave nothing behind but happy memories, right?
Exactly.
Okay, you've convinced me. Picnic in the Singapore Botanic Gardens is a must-do. Now, what about the food itself? Any recommendations for what to pack in my picnic basket?
Well, Singapore is such a diverse culinary scene, so you have tons of options. You could go for local delights like Hainanese chicken rice or nasi lemak, or keep it simple with sandwiches and salads.
You're making my mouth water. So, we've covered the orchid garden and the best picnic spots, but there's still so much more to these gardens, right?
There is. We haven't even touched upon the Jacob Ballas Children's Garden, which is an adventure all its own.
Oh, right. The Jacob Ballas Children's Garden. That's Asia's first garden designed entirely for children. I imagine it's filled with interactive exhibits and play areas all about nature and sustainability.
Exactly. It's a fantastic place for kids to learn and explore.
And then there's the Healing Garden, right?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a haven of tranquility.
It is. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful space dedicated to medicinal plants from Southeast Asia. It's a really interesting blend of nature and culture.
Okay, it sounds like the Singapore Botanic Gardens really do offer something for everyone. Nature enthusiasts, history buffs, families, those seeking a peaceful retreat,
And those seeking a delicious picnic.
of course, and those seeking a delicious picnic. Well, before we get too carried away with all the possibilities, I want to shift gears for a moment. What are some of the things that stand out to you the most about the Singapore Botanic Garden so far? What are you most curious about?
What really fascinates me is how this one place can be both a historical landmark and a vibrant hub for cutting-edge research and conservation. It's like a living reminder that nature is always evolving and there's always something new to discover.
I love that perspective. It's not just a snapshot in time, it's an ongoing story, constantly unfolding. All right, listeners, before we dive into the next part of our exploration, we want you to think about what you would be most excited to discover in the Singapore Botanic Gardens.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Singapore Botanic Gardens.
We were just asking you, our listener, to imagine yourself walking through these gardens.
There's just so many things to see and do there.
So many different paths to explore.
Speaking of paths,
Yes.
we were talking about the Jacob Ballas Children's Garden before the break.
Oh, right. The Children's Garden.
It's such a great example of how the Singapore Botanic Gardens prioritize education and engagement.
Especially for younger generations.
Exactly.
Okay, so paint me a picture.
All right.
What exactly can families expect when they visit this children's paradise?
Well, think of it as a place where kids can climb trees, build forts, splash in water features, and learn all about sustainable living while having an absolute blast.
That sounds incredible. I love that it's not just about playing, it's about learning and connecting with the environment in a hands-on way.
That's the whole idea.
What are some of the highlights that would really capture a child's imagination?
Well, there's this fantastic treehouse trail.
The Treehouse Trail.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
It winds through different levels of the forest canopy, giving kids a unique perspective on biodiversity and how ecosystems work together.
So they're learning about the interconnectedness of nature while they're climbing and exploring.
Exactly. It's a fun and engaging way to learn.
Brilliant. What other adventures await them in the children's garden?
Well, they have this water play area where kids can cool off and learn about water conservation,
Oh, that's important.
especially in a place like Singapore.
Right.
And for something a little bit different, there's a magical little farm.
A farm in the Botanic Gardens.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Kids can interact with farm animals and get a better understanding of where their food comes from.
I love that. It's so important for kids to have those kinds of experiences.
It really is.
Okay, I'm adding the children's garden to my must-visit list. It sounds like the perfect place to inspire a lifelong appreciation for nature in kids.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned the healing garden earlier. After all that excitement of the children's garden, I think I need something a little more tranquil.
The healing garden is perfect for that. It's such a beautifully designed space.
What is it about?
Well, it showcases traditional uses of plants in Southeast Asian healing practices.
Interesting. So it's not just about admiring the beauty of these plants, but also understanding their cultural and medicinal significance.
Exactly. It's like taking a step back in time and seeing how people have been using plants for healing for centuries.
And appreciating that connection between humans and nature.
Absolutely.
I'm really starting to see how multifaceted the Singapore Botanic Gardens are. It's incredible how they seamlessly weave together science, history, culture, and recreation.
It's a truly remarkable place.
It really is.
And let's not forget about the amazing plant life.
Right. All those plants.
From towering trees and delicate orchids to vibrant flowers and lush foliage, it's a feast for the senses.
It really is.
And what's amazing is that it's constantly evolving. They have this whole team of botanists and horticulturists who are constantly researching, cultivating, and introducing new plant species.
Wow, so there's always something new to see, even if you've been there before.
Exactly. It's like a living, breathing museum of plants.
I love that description.
What about you?
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite spots in the gardens?
Oh, that's a tough one. There are so many amazing places to choose from, but I have to say I'm particularly intrigued by the Evolution Garden.
Oh, the evolution garden. What is it about that one that intrigues you?
Well, just the idea of taking a walk through time, witnessing the evolution of plant life from those early algae to the complex flowering plants we see today. It's fascinating to think about how those plants have shaped our world over millions of years.
It really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
It does.
For a completely different experience, you should check out the rainforest.
Oh, yes. We talked about that a little bit earlier. A rainforest right in the heart of the city.
It's incredible. It's like stepping into another world. The moment you enter, the sounds of the city fade away, and you're surrounded by the sights and smells of a pristine rainforest.
It must be a welcome escape from the hustle and bustle of city life.
It is. It's a place to reconnect with nature and find a sense of peace and tranquility.
Okay, so we've talked about the evolution garden and the rainforest. Two very different but equally fascinating experiences.
And both very special in their own way.
Now, I want to talk about the overall vibe of the gardens. What kind of atmosphere can visitors expect when they walk through those gates?
I would say the atmosphere is one of tranquility and serenity.
Tranquility and serenity.
It's a place to escape the hustle and bustle of city life, reconnect with nature, and just breathe.
As you're describing it, I'm picturing people strolling along the pathways, having picnics on the lawns, reading on benches under the shade of a tree.
Exactly. It's a place where you can set your own pace and create your own experience.
Whether you want to be active and explore every corner, or simply relax and soak it all in.
Exactly.
I bet it's a photographer's paradise too.
Oh, absolutely. Every corner you turn, there's another stunning photo opportunity. The vibrant colors, the intricate details of the plants, the interplay of light and shadow. It's a visual feast.
I can only imagine. So, let's say I'm planning my first trip to the Singapore Botanic Gardens. What are some practical tips or insights you could share?
Well, first things first, check the weather forecast. Singapore can experience sudden downpours, so be prepared with an umbrella or a raincoat.
Good point. Wouldn't want to get caught in a downpour.
And if you're planning to spend the whole day there, pack some snacks and water.
Always good to stay hydrated and energized.
There are food outlets in the gardens, but it's always handy to have something on hand.
What about navigating the gardens? Is it easy to find your way around?
Absolutely. The gardens are very well signposted, and there are maps available at the visitor centers.
Great.
You can also download the Singapore Botanic Gardens app, which provides interactive maps, guided tours, and information about all the different plants and attractions.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned food outlets earlier.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little more information about what's available?
You'll find cafes and restaurants dotted throughout the gardens, offering a variety of cuisines and refreshments. Everything from casual cafes to more upscale dining options.
And of course, we can't forget about those amazing picnic spots.
Exactly. If you're looking for a more budget-friendly option, packing a picnic is always a great idea.
Okay, so we've covered weather, navigation, food. Any other essential tips?
Well, remember that Singapore is a tropical country, so dress accordingly. Light clothing, a hat, and comfortable shoes are a must.
Comfortable shoes are key, especially if you're planning on doing a lot of walking.
Exactly.
And of course, don't forget your camera.
Oh, definitely. You want to capture all those amazing memories you're sure to make.
Great advice. It's so easy to get caught up in the excitement and forget about the practicalities. Okay, I feel like I'm getting a much clearer picture of what to expect.
Good. I think we've covered most of the basics.
But before we move on to the next part of our exploration, I want to talk about the bigger picture for a moment. What do you think makes the Singapore Botanic Gardens so significant, not just for Singapore, but on a global scale?
I think it's the way they've managed to achieve this amazing balance between nature and human intervention.
What do you mean by that?
Well, they've created this space that showcases the beauty and diversity of the natural world while also highlighting the role that humans play in conservation, cultivation, and education.
It's a collaboration.
Yes, and it's a reminder that we have a responsibility to protect and nurture these precious spaces.
And that by doing so, we're not just preserving the past, but shaping a more sustainable future for generations to come.
Exactly.
That's a really powerful message. It's not just a beautiful garden, it's a symbol of hope.
And a testament to human ingenuity and dedication.
It's inspiring to see what can be achieved when we put our minds to it.
It really is.
All right, listeners, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the history and significance of the gardens to the various attractions and practical tips for visiting.
But there's still more to explore.
In the next part of our deep dive, we'll be talking about what our listeners, would be most excited to discover in the Singapore Botanic Gardens.
We want to hear your thoughts and perspectives.
So stay tuned for part 3 of our exploration. Welcome back to our deep dive into the Singapore Botanic Gardens. We were just talking about how the gardens are a symbol of hope and a testament to human ingenuity.
It's inspiring to see what can be accomplished when people work together to preserve and enhance nature.
And before the break, we asked you, our listeners, to think about what you would be most excited to discover in the Singapore Botanic Gardens.
Have you had a chance to let your imagination wander?
What captured your attention?
There are so many unique and fascinating aspects to these gardens.
I bet some of you are drawn to the vibrant colors and exotic beauty of the National Orchid Garden.
It's a sight to behold, that's for sure.
And others might be more interested in the peace and tranquility of the Healing Garden.
A place to reconnect with nature and perhaps learn about traditional healing practices.
Maybe some of you are history buffs, fascinated by the role the gardens played in shaping Singapore's identity.
From the colonial era to the present day, the gardens have been a constant presence, witnessing the island's transformation.
Whatever aspect of the gardens has captured your imagination, I hope this deep dive has given you a new appreciation for this incredible place.
It's more than just a collection of plants. It's a living testament to the power of nature.
It's a place where you can connect with nature, learn about different cultures, and be inspired by the beauty and resilience of the natural world.
So as we wrap up our exploration of the Singapore Botanic Gardens, I want to leave you with this thought.
What will you take away from this journey?
Maybe it's a newfound appreciation for the importance of botanical gardens.
Or a desire to learn more about the plants and traditions of Southeast Asia.
Perhaps you're feeling inspired to visit the Singapore Botanic Gardens in person and experience it all firsthand.
Or maybe, just maybe, this deep dive has simply sparked a renewed sense of wonder at the beauty and complexity of the natural world around us.
Whatever it may be, hold on to that feeling.
Let it inspire you to connect with nature in your own way, in your own life.
Thank you for joining us on this botanical adventure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep connecting with the natural world.